Hi, and welcome to another edition of Mike Finds Things, where I go out and find records wherever I can, usually estate sales and thrift stores, which is the case today. Occasionally I'll pick up a record lot. I still have that 45 record lot I still haven't done any videos on. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. But I did find some stuff this week, both at sales and thrift stores. We're going to do the estate sales first, then go into the thrift stores. I always find a lot of interesting stuff if you watch the channel before. If you can, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment on some of these records. We need to get the algorithm going. I need to get to 1,000 subscribers because I haven't reached that yet. I am a couple weeks ahead on these videos right now. I'm trying to make sure I'm covered for the week I'm away filming Hot Rod Power Tour for my other channel, which is my name, Mike Frankovich, and that's where I cover classic car shows as well as car swap meets. All right, so let's get into this one right now. First one was an estate sale. I actually mixed up the estate sales for this day. I went to 2 estate sales last week. I believe it was on Friday. It was very hot. It was insanely hot. So of course I went to the San Fernando Valley where it's even hotter. Went to one in Granada Hills and then one in Valley Glen. I wasn't going to go to the second one, but the way Waze was routing me home. It was not that far off of where I was going to wind up. So I went to the second sale. So we're going to do the second sale first. I don't know how I did that, but this one is first records from 1977, and I promise to get more interesting than this. This one has a low of 50 cents. I always quote Discogs prices. I try to find the pressing where I can. Often I cannot. Low 50 cents, mid of $2, high of 7. So not a terribly valuable record, but it's in the original sleeve. It's minty, and it is a great one for the jukebox. This is the Star Wars Cantina Band. And on the other side, it is actually the main John Williams theme. So it's in the 20th Century Fox sleeve. Not really worth much. In fact, the guy checking me out is like, "Oh, it's Star Wars." I go, "Dude, it's not really worth anything. It's literally, it's just something fun to have in the jukebox." Which is why I bought that one. Sometimes I'll say why I bought certain things. Sometimes there is a reason. So this one, there's a billion pressings of, so I didn't really peg down a value. The jacket's not in that great a shape. The record's fine. It is the Byrds, Mr. Tambourine Man, and I did not have a copy of this. I probably have the 40. I have the 45, but I mean the LP. This is when you got into more people buying LPs. This is probably like when people were switching over more from buying singles to buying the actual LPs, which probably I've never run across that one before. So that was kind of neat. Here's one, not a whole lot of value. Another Liverpool act that is not the Beatles. It's 1965 mono pressing, low of $1, mid of 4, high of 15. So not a whole lot of value on this one. It is the motion picture soundtrack, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Ferry Across the Mersey. And my dad loved that song. So this is done. Most of the soundtrack is Jerry and the Pacemakers. And they have the Black Knights and the Blackwell, so I'm guessing other Liverpool bands. And it's presented by Brian Epstein, who, of course, you know from the Beatles. And musical director George Martin, who, of course, you know from the Beatles. So kind of cool British Invasion LP, US pressing, mono, which they did make a stereo version of that, of course. I probably would have mentioned that, but Jerry and the Pacemakers. Next one I picked up at that sale, and we're going to have another one from the same artist a little later on from a different sale. 1963 Soul record, low of $1, mid of 6, high of 63. Okay, whenever I see these like crazy high values on Discogs, I just assume they're sealed copies or something, or they're autographed, or who knows. Lou Rawls, black and blue. This one is in that the cardboard sleeve that always breaks. But I like Lou Rawls. The record is minty. I got to put an inner sleeve. So it looks like they played it twice. Threw away the inner sleeve and put it back in. That's what it looks like. Here's one I just took a chance on because the records were cheap. It's a Pop Psych record from '67. Where I could tell it doesn't have much of a value. Happy is the Sunshine Company. It's very 60s hippie looking. So one of the tracks is Children Could Help Us Find the Way. and then up and away. So even the titles of the song are like oddly hippie sounding. So yeah, I don't know why I bought that, because it's minty, and I just took a chance on it. But like, when I looked it up, I don't think it had much of a value. Here's one, you know what this is. Okay, anybody that says, one guy complained, I don't know any of these records, and then, well, here's one you do know. It's 1965. It is a later pressing, and it is, some people say I need help. Well, here you go, I got help. The Beatles. So it has the gatefold. Let's remember the Help movie, one of the movies they did. I believe that was their second movie. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, they had Hard Day's Night, Help. They had Magical Mystery Tour, which was more like a TV special. Of course, Yellow Submarine. Jacket's in great shape. It is a later pressing on the Apple label, so it's not like an early pressing, and it is a stereo pressing. I could not, like, there, when you go to this one on Discogs, the pressing list, I'm not going to sit there all day trying to figure out which one it is. There's too many pressings of that album. Obviously, when I say with Beatles, they pressed 1 billion copies of them. They're out there, folks, but people want them because they are Beatles. So so they do have value because of what they are, and people do generally want them to play them. Of course, they've been repressed into oblivion. Here's one I thought was in really good shape. It has a little light scratches at the beginning of one of the songs, and it's one of those with AA. It still plays fine. This was the estate. Okay, I went to a car meet out in Ontario to film Saturday, and this was on the way out there. In fact, I got there early, got in the first group going into the sale, quickly hit the records, and had to pay and leave to go to the car meet to go film. This one's from 55. We did a low of 3, mid of 10, high of 39 on Discogs. We found a 78 copy of this very recently, I'd say about 3-4 months ago, which on 78 it's probably worth more money. It is on Checker, and it looked like a really nice copy until I realized it had light scratches on the middle of Bo Diddley by Bo Diddley on Checker. Check how crisp that label is too. And of course the B-side, or its AA side, is I'm a Man. Of course, we all love Bo Diddley. Yeah, it's got some like real light scratches, which you can hear. It's just at the beginning of Bo Diddley though, but it still does play. So I don't know where to value that. I would still say it's like between a $5 and $10 record, because even someone would even want that as a wall hanger because it's such a nice copy. Here's one I don't believe I had. I don't remember having this one. It is an early Atlantic 1955 R&B record from Atlantic on the yellow label. Low of $1.50, mid of $5. Somebody paid $50 for one of these. I don't know why. It's Blue Velvet by the Clovers. I don't get the ones where they have the big value. And it is a really, really nice copy too. A Blue Velvet. B-side is If You Love Me. Yes, it's the Blue Velvet that pretty much a lot of other people did. So I always like to find those early Atlantic, either 45 or 78s. And I've got Clovers on 78. I don't believe I have that one though, if I remember correctly. Another one, I usually pick up this artist. You've seen this artist on the channel before on both 78, 45. Oh, and also LP. I've found a couple of the LPs, the compilations. Low of 50 cents, mid of 2, high of 4. Not a terribly valuable record. This one will probably wind up in my jukebox that actually you can see the label while the music's playing. It's Bill Haley and the Comets, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And the B-side is ABC Boogie, which is another great track. So just to show you, like, not all old records are super valuable. That one's kind of cool because it's original Decca label. Here's another one. I do own this one on 78. It has a slight warp. It still plays. So my note on here is you have to turn the weight up a little bit to play it. From 54 on Savoy. Low of $1, mid of 5, high of 20. Not a crazy value. Wilbur Harrison, Don't Drop It. I always like to pick up these Savoy R&B records when I can. And The Ways of a Woman. Or his more famous track would be like Kansas City. On Savoy. So I do have a copy. In fact, it was on the channel way back when I found it. Here's another one I took a chance on at that show. This is only 78, or at that show, at that sale. This is only 78 I bought there. I bought it because it was on a minor label. 53 jazz vocal, and from what I could tell, it's not worth anything. So sometimes they do take chances on labels, and they come up not being worth anything. Sometimes you get lucky. With this case, I did not get lucky. Let There Be Love, Bobby Short with the Buddy Bregman Orchestra. And Sunday in Savannah. It's like a generic pop vocal with kind of like a jazzy backing on it. Nothing spectacular. Another one I could not look up because there's too many pressings of this one. Here's the other Lou Rawls record. This one is Solon. This is the one with Love Is a Hurtin' Thing. That was like the big hit on this one. It's a very nice copy of. Let's see if I get the record out. Record is super nice on this one, and it is a stereo version. Oh, it's a '66 Lou Rawls record. Here's one that this is from the same sale I got those last ones at. So it'll be like, wow, they had a wide range. They actually had a lot of classical there, which I don't really get into. So they definitely did have a wide range of records. Not a lot of rock and roll stuff. I wish there was more. I literally was like, I went through all the 78s, and the only thing I grabbed was the one. But this is 1980 New Wave, another one that has a lot of pressings. I'm not getting into it. It's the Pretenders' first album, and this one is super minty. Probably the songs everybody knows on this one are Tattooed Love Boys, Kid, Brass and Pocket, of course, and Mystery Achievement. A very, very nice copy of the Pretenders' first album. And yes, it has the correct sleeve with the liner notes. I'm not going to pull everything out. This is probably going to my daughter because I got her into the Pretenders. She got into Blondie, then I was like, oh, you probably like the Pretenders, so I bought her some Pretenders, and she likes the Pretenders too. All right, we're going to go to another sale. This was actually this. Oh, I really did mix these up. The first sale that it was in there. That was that day. It was really hot in the San Fernando Valley. It's actually been really hot lately. I'm filming this at like 7:30 in the morning because it's already getting hot. It's a state sale in Granada Hills. This was early in the morning. I drove all the way out there in my truck, which has barely adequate air conditioning, I might add. I did buy some records there. This guy must have been a school teacher. He did have some kids records, which we'll get into. Some interesting stuff. But he had like very wide range of records. He had a Standell's Dirty Water LP that was missing the jacket, which was very sad. I found the record. I'm like, where's the jacket? Where's the jacket? But we did get some good stuff. We're going to start out with a 1946 Jump Blues. And I bought this. I was just going to grab it because the label's cool, but then I realized it was something really cool. Low of 8, mid of 18, high of 40. That's on Discogs, and it's a 78. So I always say, Discogs is not generally the marketplace for 78s. Obviously, they do trade on there. This one is on Atomic Records. Check out that label. I mean, if you see that label, you're just going to grab it anyway. I'm going to hold it for a minute here. Great one. This one is Slim Galliard Quartet. And the A side is Yep Rock Harese. That's the name of, for what I read on this song, it sounds like gibberish, but the whole song sounds like gibberish, where he's singing. But he's actually, it's like an American guy trying to read a Middle Eastern menu, is where the lyrics came from. But the other side, that's the side people are more interested in. It's actually called Atomic Cocktail. And what it was, this was it was recorded a few months after the bomb was dropped in Japan during World War II, the bombs. And this was like before people really realized how bad it was. So it was before people realized how bad it was. So it's kind of like a lighthearted, like you know, like about you know, dropping an atomic bomb, which of course later on now it's dated. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Um, so everything I read online, I guess there was a lot of songs. There was quite a few songs that were like that before. Years later, we found out, you know, the after effects, so to speak, on the population. But a piece of history, a very interesting song. You can actually find that. There's a billion people have put that song on, not a billion, but a lot of people have put that song on YouTube, so you can actually listen to it on YouTube. Once again, it is the, what was it, the Slim Galliard Quartet with Atomic Cocktail. So that was pretty easy to find. And that record plays fine. It's actually in really good shape. Another one where I went through all the 78s and found one good 78. I don't know how many times that's happened. Here's one I picked up because it's minty and it's a kid's record and it's Disney related and it's Disneyland related. It is a 1970 Disneyland record and book. Walt Disney Presents The Haunted Mansion. This one has a little bit of a value, and it's super minty. I'm guessing because I'm thinking the guy was a teacher. It has the whole story with the Haunted Mansion. It's actually, this is going to my daughter as well because that's literally her favorite ride at Disneyland is the Haunted Mansion. And it's got a 7-inch that plays at 33 with a story, and you read along in the book. And then the B-side has the end of the story, then it goes into like different sound effects. I think it's just the Haunted House. Remember that Haunted House album that Disney put out that you find a lot? I think it's just stuff from that. I think I could be wrong. Like I said, low of 3, mid of 13, high of 30. So it does have some value, I'm guessing, for Disney collectors. I wish it had the like Paul Frees narration from the ride. That would be killer. I can't remember if the LP does. We have the LP as well, but I just gave that straight away to my daughter. I don't think it even popped up in a video. But I would much rather have the narration from the ride because it's just way cool. Those who know who've been to Disney. From '68, it's another one of those little 7-inch books with the record, with the story. Low of 3, mid of 7, high of 12. It's not worth as much because it's a Small World, which is probably a lot more common than the Haunted Mansion one. I find the Small World LP quite a bit. This one also has the song from the ride, of course. So you can get that stuck in your head. Hopefully it's not stuck in your head right now, but if you go on that ride, it will get stuck in your head. Very catchy song. So like I said, the LP comes up a lot. I've got like a couple minty copies, especially I live in Southern California. A lot of people would go to Disneyland and they'd buy the records for the different attractions. And, you know, so there's a lot of that floating around out here. Obviously Disney is internationally huge. Here's another attraction at Disneyland, but this one's on LP. I'm still looking for the 45 of this, though. There is a 45 of the song that goes for quite a bit of money. This one does have a bit of a value. From 1968, this is a mono pressing, which I guess is pretty rare. A low of 12, mid of 35, high of $100. So don't discount those Disneyland records. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, and it also on the B side. So it's got the whole song from, you know, all the songs from the Tiki Room. And on the B side, it's actually got Jungle Cruise, a narration. If you've ever been on the Jungle Cruise, and another thing that's kind of neat, it actually opens up like a gatefold, and there is a booklet, and it's got the Enchanted Tiki Room. I feel like I'm telling you stories. Am I telling you a bedtime story? Now we got the Enchanted Tiki Room with the birds. It's literally one of my favorite things at Disneyland, so yes, I'm keeping it. And then of course we got the Jungle Cruise, which is right next to the Tiki Room if you've never been to Disneyland. So very cool. I did not have this. You can actually buy a repress of this to this day, I believe. I know a few years ago they had them at Disney. You could buy it. They still press this on vinyl and sell it at Disney, as of a few years ago. So I'm thinking they probably still have them. But it's cool to have an original copy, especially a mono, because I don't think they made very many mono copies of that in '68. Next one, I think you could probably order it on the Disney website too, like Disney Store. Here's one that's sealed. 1971, low of 3, mid of 8, high of 25. Oh, this one is sealed. It is Walt Disney Presents Bedknobs and Broomsticks with Angela Lansbury and David Tomlinson, and it's completely sealed. So, if you remember that Disney movie, and there you go. The original soundtrack to Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I remember watching that when I was a kid, from '71. So. Here's one, another one. I'm not going to look up the pressing because we'll be here all day. It is a return. It's got a hole punched in it for a return, which we found the Volume 1 recently, 1967 stereo, Best of the Beach Boys, Volume 1. Well, it's called like a $5 or $10 record. I don't think these they're great for just when you have I like friends over, you just want to throw on some Beach Boys. Because you're going to get more of this one's got Little St. Nick, so even if you have like a Christmas party, you could throw on Little St. Nick. It's got 409, all your favorite Beach Boys songs that weren't on Volume 1. Like, we were listening to Volume 1 while we were having dinner a couple weeks ago. There's another one that has a, this is cool because I like car stuff, obviously. Another one that has a bunch of, oh no, I did find the pressing on this one. Low of $1, mid of 7, high of 28, but the jacket's nice, the record's nice, and I grabbed it. It is Jan and Dean with Drag City, and it's all like hot rod. This one's got Drag City, Dead Man's Curve, are probably the two best known ones. Oh, it's got their version of Little Deuce Coupe, Surf and Hearse. That's another good one. I listened to that one last night. I was like, I gotta hear this. You have a cheesy song about going surfing with your hearse. So, Drag City, Jan and Dean. For the surf collection, I guess. Here's one I thought would be worth more because of who it is, but it is not. 1981 hip hop 12-inch single, low of 50 cents. Who are these people selling 50-cent records on Discogs? Because that's a complete waste of time. $2 is the mid and high is 7. Furious 5 meets the Sugar Hill Gang showdown on Sugar Hill Records on a 12-inch single. And it's in really nice shape with the original jacket. And shoved into the original jacket, so I put it in a separate sleeve, which I have an original jacket. If you remember when we did the C&D artists, when I did when I was going through my old part of my collection, there's a chic 12-inch single that someone put in a Sugar Hill jacket, so I might switch it over to this one, which is 1980, low of 32 cents, mid of 3, high of 10. Again, I would have expected this to be worth more since it's early hip-hop. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 with Freedom. And there you go. It's the same on both sides. So, like I said, you find this sale, I found a wide range of records. So one from 71. I didn't try to find a value. We'd be here all day. But all right, here's one from 1971. We already saw this artist earlier, but here's another record from them. It's Jan and Dean, the anthology album. This is actually a 2 LP set it's got like a booklet about Jan and Dean. I'm not going to go into, again, I'm not reading you a bedtime story, sorry, but it's a gatefold with a booklet on Jan and Dean. It's a good one to have if you're a big Jan and Dean fan. I actually did see Jan and Dean live at America Fest at the Rose Bowl when I was a kid, but I'm not taking the records out. The records are super nice. It looks like they brought it home, maybe played it once or twice, and that was about it. But I don't think it had a ton of value. This one came out in 71, so this compilation, and it's got a textured cover, which is usually they just draw dirt like crazy, and this one's not too bad dirt-wise. So definitely cool to find that one. Here's one, I already owned a couple copies of it, but this one was so minty I grabbed it anyway. From 76, you know it, you probably have it. It is Frampton Comes Alive. Yeah, there you go, and it is a gatefold. But it's so minty, I just said, all right, it's probably better than my other copies, so I grabbed it. Of course, it's got all the songs you know. Two album set. Both records are there. Is the gatefold upside down? Yes, it is. So, no, nothing I can't show you on YouTube in the gatefold like that one record. All right, there you go. There's the gatefold. It's there. But again, Frampton comes alive. There's probably a billion pressings of that album sold so many copies, it's ridiculous. Now for something a little bit different. This one, okay, now we're going to go into the thrift store records. So this is the first of the thrift store records. Most of these are from that same store I always find stuff at, where the records are still $2. Or they used to be $1, then they just recently raised them to $2. They'll put $3 if they've heard of the person. So in this case it was $2. And I think this trip I actually had enough points to get a discount because my daughter got a bunch of books and we just took the discount. I usually wait till I've got I find a bunch of stuff to take the discount because they have like a point system. Martin Denny plays the theme from the United Artists Motion Picture Hawaii. Low of $1, mid of 6, high of 16. So a Exotica record. But it was so minty, I grabbed it, and it was a Martin Denny album I did not have. So, Martin Denny doing the Hawaii soundtrack. Another one, this group put out so many records, it's like insane how many records this artist put out. This one is, unfortunately, Chris wrote his name across the cover there, but it's in really nice shape. The Go with the Ventures. And a low of $1, mid of 450, high of 13. This is a stereo copy. Fortunately, Chris did write his name on there, but it's so nice. It's the Ventures, but I think honestly they put out, their records would be worth more if they didn't put out so many damn records back then. It's insane how many albums they did. I think the record company just kept saying, put out more albums, put out more albums. But probably one of the best known instrumental surf groups of all time. Then it sort of got into more stuff you'd put on in the background. I find those mixed in with people that just collected had easy listening albums, and they'll have a Ventures album. That happens a lot. Another one from we got two from the same artist coming up, and it's an artist I don't think I had any LPs from. I'm pretty sure I did not. 1970 blues rock. I think they got a guy's collection in, and somebody already got all the stuff that everybody knows, and then this was kind of left, if that makes any sense. It's Cricklewood Green, 10 years after, with a textured cover that's drawn a lot of dirt. This one again has a lot of pressings on it, but a cool 10 years after LP. Has an artwork gatefold there. So I picked that one up for, I believe it was $2. I think it's worth grabbing for $2, especially since you're standing right there. Next one, this one has the hit that everybody knows on it. So 10 years after. The jacket's not that great, but the record is much better. 10 years after, A Space in Time. This is the one with I'd Love to Change the World, which is their song that everybody knows. We got Birds now. I think when I started talking about the Tiki Room, now the Birds came out. But no gatefold on this one. Space in Time, 10 years after, 1971, blues rock psych album. And then I went to another thrift store. I go thrifting with my daughter now. So we just started going to, what I do, and this is what you can do too, this is a good tip. If you're anywhere, just type in on Google, if you have an iPhone, thrift store near me. And it'll ask for your, if you authorize the location, it'll show you the thrift stores around where you are. And we just kept doing that. So this one was actually a thrift store that I've been to before. I used to go to years ago because I used to be a vehicle dealer, and the dealer DMV was right around the corner from this one in Covina. And I think their records were $3. This is only I found that was decent. I probably paid what it's a low of 2, mid of 7, high of 20. So I did find that. My daughter looks for clothes. I will say I wound up at a thrift store in Pomona. I think it's called Eco Thrift. Their records are priced high discogs. I've never seen this. I go in there and I go to the records and I'm like, wow, there's a Foreigner album at the front. It's in really nice condition. I'm just like, why is that here? And then I pull it out and they want $15. So they're pricing their stuff high discogs. And they had I swear, they had the collectibles case, and behind the case they had an Edie Gourmet LP, which of course is probably not worth anything. But for some reason, either they're pricing off of eBay asking prices. That's the only thing I could think of. And it was the weirdest thrift store. It was way overcrowded and very claustrophobic. We hightailed out of there. I'm never going back to that store again. They'll probably have those records until the end of time. They had some great artists, some great records, but they were like way overpriced. Like they were eBay asking prices on the records. But this is not that thrift store. This is the only thing I found at this thrift store, though. Arthur Lyman, like I said, I'm getting back into the Exotica stuff. From '59, a stereo version of The Legend of Pele. It's got the cool, it's got the hot girl coming out of the volcano Exotica cover. And a very nice copy. The jacket's not destroyed. You know, it's got the cardboard, you know, the record's nice. I was actually playing this the other day. My daughter said take it off. She didn't want to get into the Exotica thing at all. So, like I said, I'm going to try to keep this going if I have to next week. I don't know if there's any sales coming this week. It's very hot. So, I am ahead a few weeks on my videos. If not, we'll go into dive into some more of the old part of the collection so I can eventually get to reorganizing everything. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like the video. Leave some comments. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.